Ferrari fans, buckle up. What unfolded in Baku wasn't just a bad weekend. It was a meltdown that shook Maranello to its core. Fred Vasseur didn't hide behind excuses. He stood in front of the Maris and dropped a bombshell, exposing everything that went wrong. From disastrous qualifying calls to Lewis Hamilton's growing fury and a team order that went horribly wrong. This wasn't just about P8 and P9. This was wasted potential, broken trust, and proof that Ferrari still can't execute when it matters most. And now, shocking new evidence has emerged that could change the future for both Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Stay tuned. This is Ferrari like you've never seen before. The weekend actually began with hope. On Friday, Lewis Hamilton topped FP2, looking completely at ease with the SF25 for the first time this season. For a driver who had been struggling to unlock the car's performance since joining Ferrari, this was the breakthrough everyone had been waiting for. Fans were convinced this was the weekend that Ferrari would finally challenge Red Bull and Mercedes. Even Charles Leclerc looked rapid. He was flying through the tricky sections of the Baku City circuit, carrying speed through corners and putting Ferrari exactly where they wanted to be, right in the fight at the very front. The dream was clear: a front-row start, a shot at the podium, maybe even a chance to win. But Saturday is where everything started to fall apart. Hamilton, full of confidence after Friday, wanted to use the medium compound tire in qualifying, the same tire that nearly everyone else had chosen. But Ferrari overruled him. They claimed there wasn't enough time to warm it up or enough fuel for another run. Instead, Hamilton was sent out on the wrong compound, and as a result, he never had the grip to deliver a competitive lap. The seven-time world champion was eliminated in Q2, a crushing blow that left him furious. And then came the second gut punch. Leclerc, who had looked capable of challenging for the front row, crashed in Q3. Just like that, Ferrari's golden chance to lock out the front row was gone. Later, Fred Vasseur admitted point-blank that the weekend was lost in qualifying. He said starting outside the top 10 on a track like Baku, where overtaking is already brutal, left both drivers with too much to do on Sunday. And he was right. Once you're stuck in the midfield here, every weakness in your car gets exposed. On race day, both Ferrari drivers had one mission: recover as many positions as possible. Hamilton drove with precision, threading his car through the castle section like the champion he is. Leclerc pushed hard as well, fighting to climb up the order. But lap after lap, they were trapped in traffic. And then came the real bombshell. Vasseur revealed that Leclerc's car had suffered a hybrid energy recovery issue. On a track where top speed is everything, his SF25 was missing crucial kilowatts of electrical deployment down the straights. To the average fan, that might sound like a minor technical detail, but to a driver, it is devastating. That missing power is the difference between overtaking or staying stuck behind a rival. It's the difference between defending your place or being a sitting duck. Leclerc was fuming. His radio messages grew sharper as he realized he had the grip in the corners, but no power to finish the move on the straights. And just when things couldn't get worse, the team order's drama began. Ferrari told Leclerc to let Hamilton through so that Lewis, who was on fresher tires, could attack the cars ahead. Lando Norris, Yuki Tsunoda, and Liam Lawson. Leclerc obeyed, sacrificing his position for the good of the team. The plan was clear. If Hamilton failed to make progress, he would give the position back before the checkered flag. But that's not what happened. In the closing laps, Hamilton slowed to return the place, even braked on the straight to try to let Leclerc past. But in the heat of the moment, with mirrors full of cars and timing crucial, he got it wrong. 4/10 too late, he crossed the finish line still in 8th place, leaving Leclerc in 9th. The swap never happened. And just like that, what should have been a simple call turned into another Ferrari controversy. Vasseur didn't try to spin it as a minor misunderstanding. He called it a misjudgment. He explained the reasoning behind the decision, but by then, the damage was done. To the Tifosi, it looked like chaos. To rivals like Red Bull and McLaren, it looked like weakness. And to Hamilton and Leclerc, it felt like yet another weekend where Ferrari tripped over themselves at the very moment clarity and unity were needed most. After the race, Hamilton's words cut like a knife. "I couldn't care less about P8. This wasn't just frustration. This was a warning shot." Hamilton didn't join Ferrari to scrap for minor points. He came to Maranello to fight for wins, podiums, and ultimately an 8th world title. He later apologized for not returning the position in time, explaining that he did lift and even braked, but got the timing wrong because he was focused on the car ahead. But it was his other words that really resonated. To him, finishing 8th was meaningless. It was the clearest signal yet that Ferrari are wasting the twilight years of one of the greatest drivers in F1 history. Leclerc, on the other hand, was more restrained. He admitted the rules weren't respected but brushed it off, saying that P8 and P9 weren't worth caring about. But everyone knew what he really meant. If this had been for a podium or a win, the fallout would have been explosive. Leclerc has lived through years of Ferrari chaos, but this time he shares the garage with another superstar. Moments like this plant seeds of mistrust. And if Ferrari don't get on top of it quickly, they risk splitting their driver pairing right down the middle. The truth is, Ferrari had the pace to fight at the very front. The data makes it crystal clear. The SF25 was competitive enough to challenge. But between the poor tire strategy that ruined qualifying, the hybrid deployment failure that crippled Charles Leclerc, and the operational confusion over team orders, they managed to turn what should have been a weekend of redemption into yet another chapter of frustration. Fred Vasseur admitted that Ferrari had all the ingredients to succeed in Baku, and yet they walked away empty-handed. That is the most painful truth of all. This wasn't about being outclassed by Max Verstappen, Red Bull, or George Russell in a quicker car. No, Ferrari beat themselves. They had the tools, they had the speed, and still they failed to deliver when it mattered. The SF25 was supposed to be the car that brought Ferrari back to the front, the car that signaled a new era and a real title challenge. Instead, it continues to expose their fragility, their inconsistency, and their inability to execute under pressure. Every race weekend that ends like this chips away at the team's confidence and at the patience of their drivers. For Lewis Hamilton, this was his 5th failure to reach Q3 in his debut season with Ferrari, and each one feels like a missed opportunity to prove that he can lead the Scuderia back to glory. Leclerc, meanwhile, was left powerless once again by issues completely outside his control. And Ferrari's slump in the Constructors' Championship continues. The pressure inside Maranello has never been higher. The Tifosi are losing patience, and the fear now is real. If Ferrari can't turn this around quickly, they won't just lose another season. They might lose Hamilton's faith in the project altogether. So, was this just a bad weekend? Or the start of a full-blown Ferrari crisis? Can Fred Vasseur restore order before it tears the team apart? Will Hamilton stay patient? Or could moments like this push him to rethink his future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button. Share this with fellow F1 fans and subscribe. Because what happens next at Ferrari could change everything for Hamilton, Leclerc, and the future of Formula One. Thanks for watching.